Why should the noble and immortal will stoop to the petty works of transcendence? Freedom forgotten, and the eternal spark. She answered, Strange, I trample on the road, the strong hands choose for me, which planned our path. Freedom in this with ever seeking soul, loving life's limits, strong in matters not, building great stuff action from the world to make fine wisdom from force scattered strength and love and beauty out of war and night, the wage of wonderful forgetting without.
Mantras of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, what you are not able to do today, you will achieve tomorrow. Persevere and you shall conquer. With love and blessings, says our Divine Mother. Words of our Lord Sri Aurobindo and our Divine Mother from the collective works of our Divine Mother and our Lord Sri Aurobindo, compiled by A.S. Talal, book The Psychic Being, page 11, topic Meaning and Nature of the Psychic Being, continuation. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, in the experience of yoga, the self or being is in essence one with the divine, or at least it is a portion of the divine and has all the divine potentialities. But in manifestation, it takes two aspects, the Purusha and Prakriti, the conscious being and nature. In nature here, the divine is veiled and the individual being is subjected to nature, which acts here as the lower Prakriti, a force of ignorance, avidya. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the Purusha in itself is divine, but exteriorized in the ignorance of nature. It is the individual apparent being, imperfect with their imperfection. Thus the soul or the psychic essence, which is the Purusha entering into the evolution and supporting it, carries in itself all the divine potentialities, but the individual psychic being, which it puts forth as its representative, assumes the imperfection of nature and evolves in it till it has recovered its full psychic sense and united itself with the self above, of which the soul is the individual projection in the evolution. Let me repeat that. Thus the soul or the psychic sense, which is the Purusha, enters into the evolution and supporting it carries in itself all the divine potentialities, but the individual psychic being which it puts forth as its representative assumes the imperfection of nature and evolves in it till it has recovered its full psychic essence and united itself with the self above, of which the soul is the individual projection in the evolution. This duality in the being on all its planes, for it is true in different ways, not only of the self and the psychic, but of the mental, vital, and physical Purushas, has to be grasped and accepted before the experiences of the yoga can be fully understood. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the being is one throughout. The being is one throughout, but on each plane of nature, it is represented by a form of itself which is proper to that plane. The mental Purusha in the mental plane, the vital Purusha in the vital, the physical Purusha in the physical. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the Taittiriya Upanishad speaks of two other planes of the being, the knowledge or truth plane and the Ananda plane, each with its Purusha, but although influences may come down from them, these are superconscient to the human mind and their nature is not yet organized here, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Next, words of our Divine Mother from the book The Sunlit Path. Topic: Spiritual Experience. Question: Sweet Mother, you speak of spiritual experience. What is an experience and how can one have it? For this, our Divine Mother says, it is something which puts you in contact. It is something which puts you in contact with a consciousness higher than the one you usually have. You have a certain feeling about yourself, you're not even aware of it. It is for you, your ordinary condition, you understand? Well, if you suddenly become conscious within of something very different and much higher, then whatever it may be, this will be a spiritual experience. You may formulate it with a mental idea, you may not formulate it. You may explain it to yourself or you may not. It may last or it may not. It may be instantaneous. But when there is this essential difference in the consciousness, and when naturally the quality that comes is very much higher, clearer, purer than what one usually has, then one can call this is a spiritual experience. This means that there are thousands of different beings which can be called spiritual experience. There are thousands of different things which can be called spiritual experiences, our Divine Mother. Question: Sweet Mother, should we aspire to have a spiritual experience? For this, our Divine Mother says, I think it is wiser to aspire to make progress or to be more conscious or to be better or do better than aspire for a spiritual experience, because that might open the door to do more or less imaginary and falsified experiences to moments of the vital which take on the appearance of higher things.
Listener, met her touch. All things hang here between God's yes and no. Two powers, real but to each other untrue. Two concert stars in the mooned night of mine that towards two opposite horizons gaze. The white head and the black tail of the mystic drake. The swift and the lame foot, wing strong, wing broken, sustaining the body of the uncertain world, a great surreal dragon in the sky.
Our Divine Mother says, one may deceive oneself by having an aspiration for experience. In fact, the experience must come spontaneously as a result of inner progress, but not for itself or in itself, says our Divine Mother.